In a village nestled deep within the mountains, a place so remote the sun seemed to hesitate before gracing it with its light, lived a boy named Kale. His world was small, framed by dusty paths and thatched roof huts. They called his family the Stone Eaters, a cruel nickname born from their perpetual hunger. Kale's stomach was a constant aching void, a companion he knew better than any friend. His clothes were a patchwork of memories, each threadbare piece a story of a time when things were slightly less dire. His father, a man whose back was bent like an old willow from a lifetime of hard labor, would often stare at his son's empty bowl, his eyes filled with a silent, crushing sorrow. "One day, my son," he'd whisper, his voice rough as sandpaper, "one day this will not be our story." But one day felt as far away as the moon. Kale's only escape was a tattered book, a gift from a traveling merchant who had pitied the boy's curious eyes. It was a book of maps of lands far beyond his valley. He would spend hours tracing the coastlines with his finger, whispering the names of cities he couldn't pronounce: Constantinople, Alexandria, Samarkand. These places weren't just ink on a page. They were promises of a world where boys didn't have to watch their families starve. One year, the drought was particularly merciless. The river shrank to a muddy trickle. The crops withered into brown husks, and the village elder declared that a sacrifice was needed to appease the mountain gods. Not a person, but a family's most precious possession. Panic rippled through the village. What could they offer when they had nothing? For Kale's family, the choice was agonizingly simple. Their most precious possession was a single, scrawny goat, the only source of milk for his infant sister. Giving it up meant a death sentence for the baby. That night, as his parents wept in hushed tones, Kale made a decision. He would not let his sister die. He would not let one day remain a distant dream. He would offer a different kind of sacrifice. Before the sun rose, he crept out of his hut. In one hand, he clutched his precious book of maps. In the other, a small bag with a single stale piece of bread. He went to the elder's hut and laid the book on his doorstep. It was his everything, his dreams, his hope, his only window to another world. It was a sacrifice of his own future. He then turned his back on the only home he had ever known and walked towards the mountain pass, the one that led to the world in his book. The journey was a brutal teacher. The cold gnawed at his bones. Hunger was a relentless beast, and the loneliness was a suffocating blanket. He worked any job he could find, cleaning stables, hauling cargo, his small hands becoming calloused and strong. He learned to read people's eyes, to know kindness from cruelty, to find opportunity in the shadows. He never forgot the feel of his sister's tiny hand in his, or the silent shame in his father's eyes. Years passed. The boy who left the village was gone, replaced by a young man with a sharp mind and a gaze that held the weight of 1,000 miles. He had learned the art of trade, the languages of the Silk Road, and the secrets of turning small ventures into vast fortunes. He wasn't just a merchant, he was a force, his name whispered in markets from Antioch to the Far East. One day, a man with a bent back and clothes of fine silk arrived at the foot of the mountain he had fled so long ago. He led a caravan laden not with spices or silk, but with sacks of grain, tools, and medicine. It was Kale he had returned. The villagers who had once mocked him as a stone eater now stared in disbelief. He found his parents, aged but alive. He knelt before his father, not as a wealthy merchant, but as a son. "Father," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I told you this would not be our story." He didn't just bring wealth, he brought life. He built an aqueduct to carry water from the high mountains, turning the barren fields green. He established a school, ensuring no child would have to sacrifice their dreams as he had. He had left with nothing but a map of the world, and he had returned to redraw the map of his own village, replacing poverty with prosperity and hunger with hope. The legend of the Stone Eaters died, and in its place, the story of the boy who fed the mountain was born. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos like this.